In a quiet corner of a bustling Chicago neighborhood where the hum of city life never quite faded, Mira sat on her threadbare couch, staring at the cracked screen of her old laptop. The words on the screen blurred as tears welled in her eyes. How to practice English speaking alone. She whispered the phrase to herself, her voice trembling with a mix of hope and fear. Mira, a 32-year-old immigrant from a small village in India, had arrived in the USA 6 months ago with a suitcase, a dream, and a heart full of stories she couldn't yet share. Her English was halting, her accent thick, and every conversation felt like a battlefield where she was armed with only a handful of words. Mira's days were spent cleaning houses, a job she was grateful for but one that left her invisible. Clients rarely spoke to her beyond curt instructions, and her coworkers, kind but busy, had little time to help her practice. At night, alone in her tiny apartment, she'd talk to the walls, repeating phrases from YouTube videos. "Hello, how are you? Can you repeat that, please?" But the walls never answered, and her confidence remained as fragile as the glass figurine of a dancer her mother had given her before she left home, a reminder to keep moving, keep trying. One evening, exhausted and disheartened after a client snapped at her for misunderstanding a request, Mira stumbled upon a community center flyer tucked under her door. "Free English Conversation Club," it read. Her heart raced with possibility, but doubt crept in. What if they laugh at me? What if I can't say anything at all? Still, something in her stirred, a flicker of the girl who once stood on her village's dusty stage, reciting poems to a cheering crowd. She clutched the flyer and decided to go. The community center was a warm, chaotic place, filled with the chatter of diverse voices. Mira hesitated at the door, her palms sweaty, until a cheerful woman with gray curls and a name tag reading Ellen waved her in. "Come on, love, we're just getting started." Ellen's kindness was a lifeline, and Mira slipped into a circle of strangers, people from Mexico, Somalia, Ukraine, and beyond, all stumbling through English together. For the first time, Mira felt seen, not as a cleaner or an outsider, but as someone with a story to tell. The group was led by Ellen, a retired teacher who radiated warmth and patience. Each week, she gave them prompts to spark conversation. "Tell us about your favorite memory. What does home mean to you?" Mira listened, her heart pounding, as others shared haltingly. When it was her turn, she froze, the words tangling in her throat. But Ellen's gentle nod and the group's encouraging smiles coaxed her forward. "My favorite memory," she began, her voice barely audible, "is my mother, dancing with me in our garden." The group clapped, not for perfection, but for her courage. Mira's cheeks burned with pride, weeks turned into months, and Mira's English improved, but so did something deeper, her belief in herself. She began practicing alone again, but now it felt different. She recorded herself reading poems, mimicking Ellen's clear diction. She spoke to the glass dancer, imagining it was her mother, cheering her on. Yet, the real magic happened at the community center, where unexpected friendships bloomed. She laughed with Diego, a Mexican chef who taught her slang, and cried with Amina, a Somali refugee who shared stories of loss that mirrored her own. They were all learning, not just English, but the language of humanity, kindness, patience, connection. One day, Ellen arrived with a surprise. "We're hosting a storytelling night," she announced. "I want each of you to share a story from your life. It's a chance to shine." Mira's stomach churned. Speak in front of a crowd? In English? The thought was terrifying, but Ellen's faith in her was unshakable. "You have a voice, Mira," she said. "Let it be heard." Mira spent weeks preparing, writing a story about her mother's garden, where they danced under a mango tree, dreaming of a bigger world. She practiced alone, her voice growing steadier, but fear lingered. What if she failed? What if her words fell flat? The night of the event, the community center was packed with strangers, friends, and families. Myra's hands shook as she stepped onto the stage, the spotlight blinding. She saw Ellen's encouraging nod, Diego's thumbs up, Amina's warm smile. She took a deep breath and began. "My mother, she teach me to dance," Mira said, her voice wavering but clear. She told of the garden, the mango tree, the dreams they shared. Her accent was there, her grammar imperfect, but her heart poured through every word. The audience leaned in, captivated by the raw honesty of her story. When she described her mother giving her the glass dancer, saying, "Mira, you carry our stories wherever you go," tears glistened in the crowd's eyes. As she finished, the room erupted in applause, not just for her words, but for the courage it took to share them. But the true climax came after. A young girl, no older than 10, approached Mira, clutching her mother's hand. "I'm from India too," she said shyly. I don't like speaking English at school. I'm scared. But you were brave. Can you teach me?" Myra's heart swelled. She saw herself in the girl's wide, hopeful eyes, the same fear, the same longing to belong. In that moment, Mira realized her journey wasn't just about learning English. It was about lifting others as she rose. Mira began volunteering at the community center, helping new immigrants practice English. She taught the girl, Priya, how to speak with confidence, just as Ellen had taught her. Together, they read stories, practiced phrases, and laughed at their mistakes. Myra's apartment, once silent, was now filled with Priya's chatter and the voices of others she tutored. The glass dancer gleamed on her shelf, a symbol of her mother's love and her own resilience. One evening, as Mira walked home under Chicago's starry sky, she whispered to herself, "I am enough." Her English wasn't perfect, but her heart was full. She'd found a community, a purpose, and a voice that could inspire. She thought of the flyer that had changed everything, of Ellen's kindness, of the strangers who became family. And she knew, wherever she went, she'd carry their stories too.